There we go. Sorry about that. I had to get some updated information so I could copy down the recipe correctly. All right, let me make sure that everything looks like it's looking good. Um, Oops, I have a volume on where I need to not have a volume on. All right, so let me do that real quick. Do that. All right. So, and I'm still hearing an echo here somewhere. Let's see, where is that coming from? Sorry about that. All right, so that's quiet. All right, so okay, there we go. That's muted. Sorry about that. Okay, so I think we're okay here. Hi, Gwendolyn. Nice to see you on. All right. Okay, everything seems to be muted properly. And we are up and running. Alrighty. I finally fixed the issue with the bag weight sliding down when it wasn't supposed to. The issue was that the strings on the bag were knotted on one end, and that would keep it from getting a proper grip. So I moved it around where the knots were not up by the bag, and once that was done, it seems to be holding just fine. So if you use that method, not having a knots where it contacts your braid and the stick is definitely a requirement, apparently. So I did not really get all that much braiding done, just a couple of runs through. I mainly was working on fixing the issue with the weight bag. I think what else I was going to mention. It's been kind of busy for my day job. Oh, and the reason I didn't do it Friday morning is I realized by the time I was going to stream, it was warm enough that I would have to have the air conditioner running, and you guys would not be able to hear a single thing. Oops. Let's see. Thank you. All right. So I do think, though, I am going to have to work on this off camera to get it done in time. There's still a full week of this event left, and I feel like I'm running out of time because I've already been here for 2 weeks. Some other people have been putting videos of the attendance counter I made online, which is nice. Somebody did suggest that I make it a little different next time around, and a friend of mine pointed out that, gee, that's nice. Maybe he could pay for it if I did that, because this was entirely a donation. But apparently he doesn't like the fact that it takes a little bit of effort to crank it. But I was trying to make it look more like a clockwork contraption as opposed to something more modern. I think 3D printing the parts was kind of pushing it, and I've been told it's one of the more photographed things at this particular event, which makes me feel kind of nice about that. But I think if I needed to, I can just take out some of the gears and make it a free-floating thing, and that would resolve the issues, but I'm not sure I want to actually do that. Kind of the not rewarding entitledness or rudeness, because I made this thing. It's nice. Nobody paid me for it. I spent probably $300 or $400 in equipment, making sure that it works the way I expected people wanted it to be done. And now I'm getting told, nah, it's too much work. Sorry, a little grumpy about that. And my sarcasm mode has been engaged. So our starting, let's see, yeah, that went over the way it shouldn't have. The starting length for today was about 24 inches. Let me just quickly show what that looks like. So we're about back to there. And it's a little warm in here. I had the AC running on earlier to keep it a little cooler. I got the door open. I don't want to turn on too much in the way of fans. However, I just realized something else that I wanted to show you folks. So give me a second here. I'll move this out of the way and put it on camera. When I get to the logical stopping point, aka it's all one color on one side and all the other color on the other side. Okay, I think I've seen those. The stitch counters, I mean. All right. I admit I am looking forward to getting back home and getting started on the takadai braid again. All right, so there's a good spot. Let me move this out of the way. I was able to wear the nice boots that my wife got me for my birthday last year. Probably a bit of a modern tread on the bottom, but... And they haven't been too uncomfortable to wear, so I'm happy with that. Let's get this back on camera. All right. Let me double check. Okay. Focus seems to be good. And we are at high resolution, so shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Let's get back into turbo mode. One thing I did do is, since one of the people who works for me in this department, I try and get everybody a thank you gift every year because I can't pay them, and let them know that, you know, we appreciate everybody who works here and we hope that they have a wonderful time. So for a long time, one of the people who works for me does a lot of like lace making, you know, tatting and stuff like that, and hasn't really ever been interested in Kumihimo, but apparently she's getting a little more interested. Whoops. Sorry about that. Probably shouldn't have the staff radio on while I'm doing this. But anyway, so she's getting more interested in Kumihimo. So I was going to get her the first book by Makiko Tada. So the updated version is available through Braider's Hand. I'm not really aware of many other places that have it at the moment, but I gave them a call on Friday, and they confirmed that if I ordered it, they could ship it to me, and it would get to me in time before we went home. So it looks like that'll actually be here Monday night. So it'll be interesting to see the updated one. I also got a copy for myself because mine is starting to fall apart, and I'd like to see the updates. I also ordered another book by Makiko Tada. It's a Japanese language only one, but I think with Google Translate on my phone and the camera, I can actually get a moderately decent real-time translation, at least give me the idea of what I'm looking at. If I need better details, I can probably find somebody who reads and speaks Japanese. Actually, I happen to know somebody like that that's relatively local to me who would probably be willing to do a translation for me if I paid a reasonable fee for that or something along those lines. But it is 2,500 years of Kumihimo, the 50 years that Makiko Tada has done. I think it's like 58 pages or something like that. I'm told that the photography in there is pretty decent, but there'll probably be some decent documentation that I can use to for documenting it during the SCA's time period of pre-1600 there is no actual official early starting date, but I know, but most people I know consider like the fall of the Roman Empire to be roughly the start date that most of us do. Though there have been jokes about you can play Og the Caveman. And then again, I'm in a household that does the Mongol Empire of Chinggis Khan, Genghis Khan, Temujin, that time frame. and that interaction with Far Eastern Europe. But yeah, there are also people who do Japanese personas, so having documentation that what I'm doing falls within the scope of this group will be a nice thing to have. Thank you very much. I was worried that they would be too tight, but went ahead and wore some compression socks yesterday, and I can wear them now, and they're actually still not all that tight. So hopefully the compression socks will do good. But yeah, I'm not wearing compression socks now, and they're still not too tight. So might be I just have to wear some less thick socks in general when I wear these, or ones that are of a slipperier material. But yeah, I had they took a lot of measurements for my foot. Had to wait about 3 months for them to be made, and then they shipped it to me. And I really only wore it like once since then. But now that I've been able to wear them for a day and my feet still feel relatively decent, I think I'm going to try and wear them a bit more. I am going to have to wear orthopedic, custom orthotic shoes in the near future, so I might need to get inserts for these. We'll just have to see how it goes. And about where I need to drop some tama, because you're getting kind of close to the bottom of the mirror here. Looks like the braid is progressing nicely. All right. And the bag's almost all the way down. Admittedly, with the long strings on here and the length of the bag, I have a little bit of an issue with that. All right, so added about that much, it looks like. Maybe. I'll have to do an actual measurement with the ruler or tape measure. Okay, so let's roll these down a little bit. Hey, Marmar, nice to see you on. Yep, I think silk socks would definitely be nice ones to wear. I just don't happen to have any at the moment. And I have worked with bamboo fibers for braiding. And yes, they are a relatively soft and slick fiber. So socks made out of them would definitely be in the running for good ones to wear with these. I might need to have a little thicker material socks than I'm wearing currently because, like I said, they are just a little bit loose. And I was wearing thicker socks when they measured me. All right. Got this about half rolled down. Another group of 8 to do, and then half an iteration through the braiding pattern, and then the final eighth or final quarter of it. All right. And let's see. Okay. And getting closer. Okay. Not sure I remember who Al is, Marmar. But hey, Al, welcome to the stream. Oh, yes, I remember now. It's the name that I have a hard time parsing all of the letters in it, and you said it was okay to call Al at the front, if I remember right. If not, I apologize for my confusion and my poor memory. That is something I'm definitely trying to work on, getting my memory better. I try and do like solitaire and Sudoku and Mahjong type games every day as a challenge to make sure that I'm still processing that type of thinking and comparing how I do currently with how I've done in the past, see if it takes a lot longer or not to do the same things. just kind of a spot check to see where my general cognition sits for puzzle solving and the like, which I understand is supposed to be help for preventing deterioration of cognitive functions. Since I'm starting to get old enough that that's something I should keep an eye on. All right. Well, we were up to 5 for a bit, but we dropped down a bit. Hopefully it's not due to bad data or something like that, but it looks like the YouTube feed is coming through okay. Check the Rumble one just a second here when I got these rolled all the way down. But I'm definitely making progress with the okay, still no chats on thinking for a second here. Still no chats on Rumble. All right, we are back to YouTube. Okay. And we're back to turbo mode. Still need to do a YouTube short of the tent that I'm staying at, or staying in. All right. Looks like still running up against that notch there, so it's about time to do something about that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to the left. And to the right. Let's rotate that just a little bit. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And across. And bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the left. 1, 2, 3. And to the right. Okay. Just about where I want it to be. All right, I think I can go from here. I think we'll be good. This Marudai tends to get bumped around a little bit while I'm working here as people go from one side of my desk to the other. I watched the Thursday night Makiko Tada stream. Finally watched all of that. There was a lot of yelling on that one. Epic Mike versus Vito. I have not bought a copy of Isom because I don't really buy comics these days, but hope he does well long term. I hope that most creators who produce something that people like will be able to succeed, even if I don't really care for them as a person, or if I do care for them as a person. I tend to think that the world is a better place if people are able to succeed at their dreams, assuming those dreams are, like normal type things and not like, world conquest and the like. My dream is that everybody will eat mustard and mayo for dessert. Yeah, not happy with that type of world. That seems a little excessive. Not the M&Ms I would like to eat. I'm happy with the little candy-coated shell Mars chocolate candy for that. Or if you read them upside down, W's and W's. Okay, apparently my stream of consciousness has gone into the left field today. I apologize for that. Actually woke up feeling, rather rested, which is not usual for me. So that was kind of pleasant. Didn't have a whole lot of energy, just didn't feel tired. Trying to get things done. Like I said, it's getting kind of close to the end of our event here. Today is Saturday, our last official shopping run for our quartermaster department is Thursday. So we have 5 more days of business. Friday, we're going to go ahead and mostly pack down our camp, get ready to toss the remaining stuff in and be ready to leave, hopefully between 10 and noon. Get home about 5 or 6, take a nice leisurely shower or bath, unpack the stuff we need to wake up in the morning, be ready to go, and then just take a nice casual Sunday to slowly unpack our stuff and get ready for the workday on Monday. I think usually is the case that when we get back, my wife goes back on night shift, so she'll have an extra half day to adjust. So she has to go back to going on night shift, which is not always the greatest. But she doesn't mind the shift too much. So usually she'll get off work Saturday morning and not go to bed until late Saturday night. So she's up for about 36 hours on the weekends. But she gets to sleep in extra Monday morning. Looks like I'm starting to get close to where I need to drop the tama again, which is letting me know I'm going at a pretty decent clip on this. And my fingers seem to have the appropriate level of calluses, and I'm not feeling like I'm rubbing my fingers raw, which is a good sign. Let's see, those are getting a little twisted there. Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where I might need to drop the tama again soon. Let me catch up on the chat. Yeah, I definitely understand that. It's been essentially taking some chemical assistance for me to be able to start to feel more normal about that. I still don't feel rested when I wake up most of the time. I just kind of muddle through until it's time to take the wake-up pill. But yeah, this was more general overall energy levels, not so much tiredness this time around. I also need to go through the merchant's row here and find some stuff to bring home as gift for friends and coworkers. My work has been very nice about letting me have 3 weeks off, even though it's a much smaller company than my previous one, where you had to go work there for 12 or 13 years before you could get 3 weeks off. I actually gotten up to the point where I could get 4 weeks off for a couple of years before I switched jobs. But this one, even if they don't give me paid time off, they're more than willing to let me take time off to do things I need to do without we're going to watch you and not give you as big of a raise if you take too much time off, that type of thing. That was one of the frustrating things at my prior job. Always feeling like somebody was keeping an eye out, ready to catch you making a mistake. And that wasn't just counting making sure that the parts you made were in tolerance. That I was happy to have people double check my work. I used to be in the quality department, and knowing how easy it is for things to slip by, especially when you're checking your own work, because your mind will tend to substitute things that you expect to see as opposed to what they actually are. Anybody who's edited their own writing notices that when other people spot typos and spelling errors and things like that you didn't see because your mind substituted what you were expecting. I know that some people who have to edit their own work tend to like to wait a couple of weeks before they do it so that the memory of what to expect is no longer current in their mind. They're able to see the stuff easier. But it's very hard to get all of it out when you're checking your own work. That's why people have editors that are not them. Okay. I think one or two more times through, and I'll be ready to drop some tama again. I am going to try and do a whole 2 hours tonight. We'll have to see how well that does. Thinking of also possibly doing a Sunday evening one too, but I'm not sure on that. I'm pretty sure I won't do a Monday evening one because I know Ian's going to want to do his live stream, and I don't want to conflict with that. And I got one of these that are high enough up. As soon as I'm done with this pattern, I'm going to have to drop them down. It's going to start clattering and not sitting right, as it sits on the side of the mirror instead of below the mirror. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll raise up the bag too, see where we're at. Looks like we're back up to 4 people again. That's good. At least according to the YouTube tracking. Now we're up to 4 likes. As always, if you're catching this on the replay or catching it live, liking or leaving a comment definitely helps the YouTube algorithm think that people want to see what I'm producing, and we'll share it with more people. Okay. Making sure I'm getting the right ones down in the right order so that they're all where they're supposed to be. Okay, yep. Got that one there. And it's easy to get these wrapped around each other, and then you drop the wrong one lower than where it's supposed to be. It gets confusing. Okay. And that one doesn't quite want to unroll correctly, so let's go ahead and rewrap this one real quick. All right. So what's its issue? Okay, there we go. And pass that on through. There we go. I'm done, and no knot. Redo the lark's head knot. So other than being a little warm, the weather hasn't been too bad around here. Not a ton of rain, so tense canvas is not generating mold. That's always a plus. I've not been doing all that well on my diet because, hey, food, my wife is a wonderful cook, and I'm out of my usual environment, so it's easier to have higher calorie snacks and what I've specifically set aside for like the tuna and salmon pouches I have for my stacks at my day job. And I still haven't been walking as much as I want because of the Achilles tendonitis. But when I get home, since they said I can use the elliptical without too much issue, I'm going to try and get about a half hour a day on the elliptical until I can start getting my weight dropping down faster. Hope that'll also help with the tendonitis. Not looking forward to the drive home as far as that goes, because that seems to have been what set my Achilles tendon off coming out here, and had a few very uncomfortable days. Not a very few uncomfortable days. Need the very in the right spot to modify the right word. Actually, give me a second here, and I'll see if I can't show you the book I'm going to be getting. I did have a chance to talk with the lady who runs Braiders Hand, and unfortunately we still seem to be on friendly terms, which is nice. Go. Almost there. Bring that up. And kind of centered on the screen here. There we go. Now let's go ahead and share this. Present. Share screen. And there we go. And sharing. All right, let me switch to here. And let's get it full screen. So that's the one I'm looking forward to getting this Monday. Seeing how well it fulfills what I'm looking for. So got my hopes on that. All right, let me go ahead and drop that off the stream here real quick and get back to the braiding. All right. There we go. And back to the braids. I've raised up the chair a little bit. That seems to be making it a little more comfortable for me. So hopefully I won't have to stop braiding before my 2 hours, or planned 2 hours, are up. I do apologize for the lighting not being as good as I usually do, but I don't have the same lighting set up and wasn't really able to bring it with me. The one extra light I did bring is not all that great. I don't really have a good spot to mount it, and it doesn't help that much relative to the other lights. But this is only 3 weeks a year, and I think I've already done enough streaming that YouTube is not going to consider my channel to be dying and start cutting me out of the algorithm, which was the main thing I was worried about. Yeah, there we go. Just about time to raise up the bag again. See how far we are. Okay, let's raise the bag up. There we go. All right, so we were about here. So this should roughly be the amount I've done in about half an hour. That's pretty impressive. So maybe another stream tomorrow night, probably one Tuesday night, regardless of if I do one tomorrow night or not. And I will probably be doing a fair amount of braiding off stream, just to make sure this one is going to be done in time. It looks like I only have like a couple hours left. I'll finish up the stream I'll finish it up on a stream. Haven't made it to any of the Kumihimo classes I was planning to, but they're not a lot of ones that would probably be considered advanced. There's going to be one on the Makiko braid that I'm hoping to make too. For Kiko on the Marudai. I've done the Kiko on the takadai. That's the tortoise shell one that I refer to. Last one I did was yellow, white, and purple that I sent to Emily D. Baker. Don't know if she's received it or not. Don't know if she had it online at all, but I hope she got it. She liked it. I figure I got to be a little bit bigger YouTuber for her to notice me, or else be lucky and get on a stream with somebody and her at the same time. But one of the things I'm hoping to be able to do in the relatively near future is speed up my setup process even more once I get the warping stand figured out a little better, or maybe even switch over to cones. There's a slight chance that I might have a decent sized sail in the near future, but that's very tenuous and may not be much at all. But if it is, I might try and start getting enough silk cones for the silk threads that I don't have to transfer them onto spools. That'll save me about 3 or 4 hours setup easily. Probably more because it'll feed out much better than the method I've got. But it's definitely easier the way I've been doing it this time than the previous times. Hey, Texas Nana, nice to see you on. Welcome to the stream. Sorry if YouTube did not send a timely notification. I can look at my email, see if I got one. I don't always get them when I start. I usually do. But I always try and post it to locals with a push notification for people who want to be on there. That service will always be free. And I think it was you, Marmar, but I really, really have enjoyed the comment about me being kind of like Bob Ross as far as calmness or happiness or laid-backness. And definitely making decent progress. It feels like this one's going along at a really nice clip. I think one of the things I've noticed since I've started streaming is when I talk to the chat, I'm actually going a lot faster, not a lot, but I do feel like I'm going faster as I'm talking, as it's kind of like a everything going along at the same speed thing than I used to do when I would just braid without talking and just like listen to something while I was braiding. I would tend to get tired of braiding and need to take a break faster that way. This is kind of like, bicycling along and doing something else where you kind of have to do it in the proper synchronization or syncopation so that you don't like pedal wrong and fall off the bike. Or like running something on a line shaft method of power supply where everything has to kind of go synchronized or it just doesn't work. Talking about the line shaft, I'm not sure if that's the proper term, but in older shops, things like power hammers or other equipment wouldn't have motors on them because it was expensive to have small portable motors on machines. And what you'd do is you'd have this really long, usually leather belt running the length of the shop, and the machines you wanted to use would be threaded through the belt. And when you wanted to use them, you would engage a slip clutch to essentially move either the belt, usually the belt, bring it down to where it was contacting the drive shaft of the machine, and it would start the machine up. You'd have that supply power. When you were done, you disengage the clutch, and the machine would stop. Which is why, like the little giant power hammers, had this big shaft at the top of the machine. You can mount a motor up there, or you can run the power belt from system of an older system like that. These days, portable motors or machine mountable motors are so much more common, so much cheaper and easier to use than setting up a system like that. Also, it would lead to some accidents where somebody would accidentally get caught in the belt, and we won't talk about what happened there, but it was not pretty. Let me catch up on the chat real quick once I get to a natural pausing point in a second here. So it is warm enough in here. I think I'm going to take off my vest. Don't think that shows up on camera, but I'll show that as well. All right, let me catch up on the chat here. Okay, I hope your company was nice, Texas Nana. I like having visitors. Don't have a lot of them in my house, but they're nice when they stop by. Thank you. That is very nice of you to say, Elizabeth. And thank you again for that, Marmar. Oops, I had that jump down. Sorry, that was the one I meant to bring up. Okay, thank you very much. All right, let me quickly bring this around for the garb I'm wearing. My wife made me a nice blue vest, since blue is one of my favorite colors. Let's see. Just very simple vest, no fasteners or anything like that. Just some nice sleeve holes. Not overly complex, but it is a nice look. I like it. And this is the shirt I'm wearing it with. It's very shiny. And I'm also going to grab a quick drink here of my soda, which is still relatively cool despite it's been sitting on a warm computer. All right, let's keep going then. I will not get this braid done if I do not keep going. This theoretically should be a round braid, but the way I do it, it seems it comes out slightly oval until it has a chance to like equalize. So I don't know if that's an artifact of how much force I'm doing top to bottom relative to left to right, which may be the case. And Monday, I need to call the auto place and make sure I get my brakes done, because I'd like them to be fixed before I drive back home. I can stop the car, but it is definitely noisy, and I don't want to do damage to the rotors if I don't have to. Though the rotors may need to be replaced anyway. We'll have to see how it goes. The mechanic I've been working with seems to have been very reasonable, so I'm happy to keep working with them. If I lived out in this part of the state, I'd probably go to them regularly. But I probably should start planning on having a replacement car in about 2 to 3 years. It is an older car, and as time goes on, it'll start nickel and diming me. It was relatively low mileage when I bought it, but I am a moderately high mileage driver, but it's also kind of like highway miles, commuting type stuff, not a lot of stop and go. And there goes a golf cart. Oh, as of about a couple hours ago, the attendance here at the site passed 10,000 attendees, which is actually about where it tops out normally, like about 11,000, somewhere between the high 10,000, low 11,000 number. They're expecting we might actually hit 15,000 this year, which is kind of one of the reasons why we did the counter. All right. Now we're about to the point where I need to start dropping the tama again. There we go. Which means that I'll go ahead and raise the bag up, see where we are braid-wise. Oops. It's one of the things I gotta be careful not to like slide one thread over the other and put it out of order, or the order it's supposed to be in. All right, let's go ahead and drop these tama down a bit. Now I'll work my way around. Let's see. This one goes down here. There we go. Half of them are down. Let's do the ring that's slightly higher. Yeah, we're about up to 8 people. That's reasonably respective for a Saturday evening. Didn't super chat this Friday on Rob's stream. He was doing some other stuff and wasn't able to really keep up with the stream, so I didn't want to chat if it was not fitting in with the theme. I know Rob and Ian both had things they needed to work on, so it wasn't as long as it usually was, but I think I caught about half of it or so. There we go. And a couple more, and I'll be ready to drop the last quarter of them. And so far, since I readjusted the orientation, I haven't been hitting that crack that makes it annoying. So, seem to be reasonably consistent. Yes, I got about 10 to 12 or so after super chatting on Rob's stream last Friday. I also mentioned it on a forum I'm on. I think I got a subscriber or two from there. I hit 861, then dropped back down to 860 because, of course, YouTube doesn't like creators to be happy and feels that it needs to remove people. Well, it might be somebody who unsubscribed. I will maintain that possibility, but most of the times I hear creators talking about it on YouTube, they say that people who want to be subscribed find that they have become unsubscribed. So I wouldn't be surprised if that had some part of that. But I'm also pretty small, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was just the random variation of people going, yeah, I don't really need to be subscribed to this channel anymore. But I hope I'm providing value for service, or whatever it is that the soft sits say. Give for value and accept for value. not really something I want to be involved with, though. I do not like being involved with sovereign citizens. Fortunately, I haven't really had to, despite the fact that in Pennsylvania here, sovereign citizens like interacting with constables because we are elected law enforcement, and therefore semi-legitimate in the eyes of the sovereign citizens, and they tend in this area to want to use them to serve bogus paper, summons and subpoenas and things like that that are not really authorized to do. And if constables aren't paying attention, they wind up serving that garbage paper. And of course, the sovereign citizens want to pay in vouchers drawn on the persona that has been set up for them by the federal government that is not really them, and therefore they don't really have to pay you in real money because you've accepted the whatever. And I kind of lose track of exactly what's going on there and just don't want to have to deal with it. All I know is that 99% of the time when a sovereign citizen winds up dealing with a police officer or judge or something like that, it really goes bad for them unless the officer or judge in question just doesn't want to have to deal with the frustration and just says, get out of here type thing. Which unfortunately perpetuates the, hey, I did this and I got away with it, therefore it's real. But no, there are not magical cheat codes to the Constitution that if you say the right things, nobody can touch you. And there are quite a few videos out there of sovereign citizens either getting sentenced to things or getting tased or whatnot. Speaking of which, I have never gotten a taser certification, considered whether or not it's something I want to do or not. But for the amount of constable work I do, given that I am firearms certified, I'm not sure if that's something I want to deal with or not. Taser certification is expensive because as part of it, you have to fire your taser, and those cartridges are like $120 a pop or something like that. For the real taser, they had like off-brand stuff for a while, but I think the lawsuits on that have kind of mostly settled out. And you may have it, but they don't sell new stuff and they don't sell supplies anymore. So at least I haven't heard a lot of talk in the constable community about certification classes for phasers, which were off-brand taser, not really clone, but similar type device. But anyway, I'm kind of babbling. I apologize for that. Get distracted thinking about something, and it's. Speaking of which, I forgot to bring the bag up after I did the tama drop, so I will do that really quick now. Because the bag is touching and it's no longer holding the counterweight's job of keeping the braid balance between the weights and the counterweight. All right, so that was roughly where I think that was where we started. So I've had this much braid done so far today. It's getting longer. Catch up with the chat real quick. Oh, I think nothing new since I was talking about that one. But yeah, my watch hours have been dropping a little bit, but that's mainly due to the fact that this time last year I was still getting a lot of views and watch hours from the soldering video I did that's not really watched a lot anymore. I haven't really had a semi-viral video like that for a while. The YouTube shorts that I do are good for like 1 or 2 days of decent views, not a whole lot of watch hours because it's shorts after all. And then they die off really quick. They still get some semi-regular views, but again, it's a short, so there's not a lot of actual watch hours. So But I think once I get back in on Rob's braid, that will help for my watch hours a lot. Because Rob and Ian as well have always been really nice about shouting out my channel when I'm working on their working on their stuff. And then I got to do Danny's is next, and then I'm debating. I did say I'd do one for Robert Barnes, but I got to really kind of do some research because he seems to be way too busy for me to go through the design phases with him, and I don't want to make something that he's not interested in having. So I'll have to see how that goes. I might try and make it to one of Nick's live events that he would be at, or something like that, so I get a chance to maybe talk to him in person for about the 5 or 10 minutes it would take to work out the design that he would be happy with. So well, at least I've since learned that the super chats I do for, pointing people to this channel, I can actually write off on my taxes now. And when I've looked at the Social Blade website for the prediction 5 years down the road, it says I should have about 50,000 subs in 5 years, which would be nice if I could get it. I noticed I've got something on the order of about 300 videos online on YouTube, between live streams and videos and the like, which is nice. Lets me know I've got kind of a respectable body of work to build off of now. I do apologize if I chat too much about what I want to do and what I'm planning to do with the channel. But it kind of helps me work out in my head how things are going along and things to do in the future. Things that may be working well, things that may not be working well. Oh, that reminds me. I should probably start doing time-lapse videos for the Marudai Braids as well. Though they don't show quite as much action of progressing along as the takadai videos do, but it'll be interesting to see how one of them turns out. Might get one or two as a lead-in video for the Rumble videos. The one I've had on there has been on there for a while now. I tend to use it as a template because I don't have to re-upload the 1 to 2 minute video that you need as a lead-in for Rumble videos, or Rumble live streams. Sorry. Yeah, I've been going about an hour now. It's making decent progress. Now, I think when I reach the natural stopping point for this, I might get up and walk around just a little bit. Getting a little cramp sitting in here. Not so much for what I'm doing now, but the fact that I've been sitting in this chair about 10 hours a day for the past 2 weeks. There's only so much chair sitting you can handle before you start getting uncomfortable. All right. Just standing up here. Let me take a look. Cookie Mon Steve. I'll go ahead and display that. Yeah, a lot of this is muscle memory, and as long it doesn't take a whole lot of forebrain thought to keep it going. Mostly just a little bit of visual stuff, so you have an idea of what that you haven't gone off track, and the occasional pauses to make sure I know where I am in the process. And it is definitely a skill of being able to talk while I'm doing it. It used to be that I could just listen while I was braiding, follow conversations and the like, but I wouldn't actually be able to talk because it would take a little too much attention. But doing the live streaming has definitely gotten to where I can talk and braid at the same time, though the talking sometimes goes a little bit on autopilot. It's like, whoops, I wasn't really intending to have the conversation go there, but nice drink to lubricate the throat a bit. All right, so almost 3 times across there. That's pretty decent. Getting close to where I need to drop the tama again. All right, I think I shifted my chair just a little bit. This braid is basically the same move in 4 different directions, just repeated over and over again. So I'm always going from the outside to the inside. I have to spread out the inside a little bit so there's room to add the new ones, which is nice for keeping all the threads relative, same position relative to each other, because you're not like moving. Some of them where you kind of rotate around and then the pattern just kind of shifts around. Sometimes you get a little off center based off how you move your hands. This one, as long as you're careful to keep the compass point orientation, you don't get a lot of movement around. So it's a relatively low maintenance braid to keep your point of braiding in the center of the Marudai. One of the reasons why I decided to do that, plus, as I mentioned in some of the other streams, in the SCA household I'm in, the Great Dark Horde, we use red and black cords as identifiers, and for the kind of subgroup in there that I'm in, we use this particular pattern as our identifier for that, what we call connate. And yes, that's an actual word, and we're using it relatively similar, but for our connate called seekers, that's the pattern we like to use, though it is not exclusive to us. Connates are groups of like up to 10 people, and the way our household handles them. And the theme for our household is that we tend not to live close to each other, but we are good friends. I joined up, and within like a year or two, I moved like all the way across the country from Idaho to Pennsylvania, but I still kept in contact and still was in the same group. Though we can and do shift around between groups as we want to, as you know, some people you interact with more, some you interact with less. Some people join, some people leave, some people unfortunately do pass away. So yeah, I gotta start. I gotta do another tama drop pretty soon. I'm starting to get too high. The tama, not me. I'm just starting to get a little sleepy, but it is, about 8:05 my time zone at this particular point in time. And I've been usually calling it a night somewhere between like 10 and 11 at night. Been getting up about 6 to 7 a.m., so I'm getting a decent amount of sleep. And I'm sleeping reasonably well, so getting a good amount of rest. And we have reached the point where we can drop our tama again. Okay. This does require a little bit more attention just because I'm kind of judging how far I want to go down and making sure that I'm doing alternating ones so that when they're down, there's a little more room between them where they're not clacking each other all the time and trying to wrap around each other. I was noticing the other day when I was talking about the skill level of developing to be able to talk while I braid, that I've improved to the point where I don't use anywhere near as many ums, ahs, ers as I talk. I still do it occasionally, and I do work on it. So as time goes on, I expect I'm going to get better on that. Also, the more relaxed I am, the less of that I do. And the more of these streams I do, the more relaxed I get doing them. Because it's really easy to panic yourself or get stressed out when you realize I might be talking to something on the order of, oops, I messed up a little bit on that one, talking on the order of, maybe 10 or 20 people at a time, but videos might get like something on the order of 400 or 500 views over the course of a month. Some of them a couple thousand. That can make you a little nervous. Probably helpful that when I was a kid growing up in church, we would have to give talks occasionally, and we'd practice them. And I find over time that, just talking is easier for me than having practiced something that I have to remember how I'm going to do it. But it did present an opportunity to speak in front of people and kind of blunt the fear of public speaking that develops if you don't do things like that. And I will admit that since I was kind of teased somewhat growing up, learning how to turn off the overt embarrassment display to other people does help as well. Okay, let's drop the final quadrant here. And I think I can, bag's not all the way down. I'll wait till it's a little bit further down and then raise it up and see how much we've got. I see we're back up to 8 people again. That's pretty good. Let me check Rumble real quick before I start back up. And still no chatting on Rumble. Let's see how many people here. Let me reload that real quick and then make sure I mute this so we don't have a feedback loop. All right, so it says 1 person watching. All right, okay, I got it muted. Just posted a little chat there letting people know they can chat if they would like there too. All right. And which means, of course, I should check back in a couple minutes to see if anybody actually did. Still haven't gotten a chat on a Rumble or a Rumble rant or just a Rumble chat. I think the Rumble rants are the ones where they actually pay. I think if I remember right, the new book that I'm going to get, or a new version of the book I'm getting on Monday, has updated pictures for a lot of the braids, so might have some better pictures to go through for picking out braids with people for streams. This one should make a nice little belt or shoulder strap. This one I'm probably keeping because I have lost my last braid of this pattern that I'm aware of. And I really should be wearing one semi-regularly when I'm out here. The sight medallion around my neck, I have a red and black cord, but that's just a shoelace. I'd show you more about the medallion, but we're not supposed to have pictures or videos of it until the event's over because I don't want anybody to try and counterfeit one. Though this year they're going to have to really work if they do it. They're nice and heavy like challenge coins. Weather's finally cooling off a little bit more. Get an occasional cool breeze through here, which is nice. Because believe me, you don't want me to have to take off my shirt to cool down. It's not a pretty sight. And I think I changed my angle a bit too much. So let's get this. Oops. That's the way I want to go. All right, that's what I was doing wrong. All right, get this a little more rotated. Actually, yeah, nope, I was going the wrong way there. Let me orientate myself a little better. All right, and there we go. That'll be a little better now. My crossing over. There we go. And the top, the bottom, and to the left, and to the right. And if you hear that whumping sound, I think that was a cannon used for ending opening ceremonies for the war we're at. They use black powder signal cannons with no projectiles for signaling certain events starting and stopping here because it's relatively loud and that way everybody hears at the same time. Kind of the medieval version of a starter pistol. Okay, looks like the bag is touching again, so it's time to slide it up and see where we are braid-wise. And we're at our natural stopping point. And yeah, not quite touching, but almost there. Yep, having not had the knots there, this is so much easier to do it. All right, so that was roughly where we started. So this is the amount of braid we've produced on stream today. Oh, we're up to 9 people. All right, let me check Rumble, see if anybody replied to my chat. Nope, doesn't look like it. All right. Let me go ahead and pause that feed there. I don't want to overload the data streams that I've got going. Okay. I am so sorry. Yawning there. Also, this braid demonstrates another thing that's really helpful for Maru-dai braiding is you doing a lift up and then over as opposed to kind of lifting like this and going around like that. You really want to do as much of a over the top of your the hole in your mirror. It lets the for most braids, I mean, there's some that don't work well with that, but a lot of these braids, when you can bring it over the center, you get a better transition of the threads to your point of braiding, a more consistent, easier to maintain braiding technique, less variation in your finished braid. It was one of the best tips that I got starting out when I first actually got this Marudai. The people I bought it from gave me that tip, and it has served me well. So I try and pass it on to everybody I can to help them as well, too. one of the things I need to do when I get back home is set up a website for selling takadais, tama, and other stuff like that, and then get to work on making them. But I definitely want to get my production line going and have some product on hand before launching it. Because there's nothing like having a website that says, I'll do this, and when people ask, it's like, it's going to be a while. And I don't feel comfortable taking deposits unless I've got a consistent work stream going. I want to have finished products available to just sell rather than doing stuff as a commission type basis. It's too easy to fall behind on commissions, and then you owe people refunds, or people don't want a refund, they want their product. So and my parents have given me a very, very near pathological desire to make sure that I don't fail to pay that I don't fail in paying things back or delivering on what I need to do. AKA, I hate owing money to people. And I try not to put myself in that position. And when I do, I really, really, really do my absolute best to always make sure they are paid back at least on time or before time, if at all possible. Looks like we're doing pretty good here. I have at least a couple more iterations before I need to do a tama drop again. About an hour and 20 minutes in, got about 40 minutes to go. Let's see if I can keep that up without running out of alertness. Or if my butt gives out and says I have to stand up and walk around for more time than I got remaining. But yeah, I think I'm going to kind of stand up for the rest of the night when I'm done here until I'm ready to go to bed. Fortunately, I have a very comfortable bed out here. I'll have to do that short I've been talking about, a tour of our gear, aka tent, aka yurt. It is like a 10-inch tall or 12-inch tall air mattress that we put a 4-inch thick futon on top of, and it's very comfortable to sleep on. The only thing is it's a little bit short top to bottom, or from headboard to footboard. Also the tent I'm in and the wood frame for the bed are things I've made personally. The walls of the tent that the canvas goes on top of are big baby gate-like structure called a hana. It's kind of a latticework thing. I think traditionally they use like rawhide tied in knots through holes. I used pop rivets. Made the roof ring, and I did have a sawmill make me wood dowels for the roof poles, but I'm not really happy with how that turned out. I'm thinking of redoing them using 1x1 slats and tapering the ends to go into the roof ring. Let's see. I can go at least one or two more iterations before I need to do a tama drop. Oh, when I said that I was having to do it at night because the air conditioning was too loud. I'm going to turn it on for just a minute so you folks can hear what it's like. So you might want to turn the volume down just a little bit. Give you a good bit of warning here. Probably about 30 seconds or so. When I get to a natural stopping point, where it kind of looks like a radiation trefoil here. So about 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll be nice to not make you folks sit through that. But yeah, that's running during most of the day. Keeps it livable in here because it's a trailer. It's got a door. Yeah, no windows. The back opens up, but we can't have it open because we've got product in here that needs to go to the other departments. I think after this one, I will go ahead and do a tama drop. Make sure to grab the right ones and not the wrong ones just because they've twisted around. Some of these aren't sitting all that well just because they're getting a bit short. Okay. Oh, looks like I've lost some viewers. Well, maybe not. YouTube says I have, but StreamYard says I haven't. Yeah, right. Let's bring these tama down. Let me guess, it was the AC that drove everybody off. Make sure I get the right ones here. Don't mess it up. Almost there, or the halfway through on this. I'll go ahead and raise the bag at the same time so I'm a little more consistent, or when I get to a tama drop, it's more appropriate to raise the bag regularly. Yeah. It says we're back to 6 viewers, so it must have been a YouTube glitch. StreamYard says 9. Take a quick look at Rumble when I'm done with this. See where I'm at. 4 more to drop down, and I'm ready to take it to the next point where I can drop the rest of them. And there goes another golf cart. Okay. Let's raise the bag up. There we go. And to the top, to the bottom, and to the left, and to the right. To the top, to the bottom, to to the left, and to the right. To the top, to the bottom, and to the left, and to the right. And we have happy little Tama. And to the top, to the bottom, to the left, and to the right. All right, let's drop these the rest of the way, and we'll be good to go. And now we're ready for turbo mode, but I'll check the Rumble chat real quick. I do not want to leave them behind. Nope, nobody chatting over there. Let's see. It says 3 people are watching over there. Hey, welcome, Rumbles. Rumble peeps. If you do get a chance to catch some of Nick's Thursday night stream, he does tend to go over some common misconceptions about what is actually fair use transformative work. You can't just like watch something and say, yeah, that's good, or I like that, or whatnot. You have to actually you can't just affirm it. You've got to actually critique it. Like, well, I like this, but the lighting here tends to give it a more somber mood than I think is warranted for that scene there. Those types of things get you much closer to fair use. Now, if this particular thing tends to promote or detract from the what is the perceived goal of the director, the actor here could probably convey what seems to be the appropriate emotion here if they'd done this instead of that. Those types of things are what you really need for being able to be transformative in your fair use. And where you pull your thing you're responding to or commenting on or critiquing is also apparently important. It can't be like the heart of the work. And again, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is my impression of what Nick was talking about on his stream. I may be entirely wrong. You should watch it yourself. And if you need to know what is and isn't fair use, you really should get a IP law attorney to be able to review your particular situation. I didn't mean to wander that far afield in what I was talking about. I was just trying to cover the types of things they were mentioning on his video. And we are about an hour and a half in. And boy, are my arms tired. Actually, they're not. It's more of the center of my back and my eyes. Kind of want to close my eyes, but I'm pretty sure if I did that, this braid would start wandering in ways I do not want it to wander. I don't think it'll get lost for 40 years in a desert, but it might go off the road until it hits the rumble strips. That reminds me of something my wife related from an interaction when she was much younger. Somebody who apparently had been raised Catholic, hadn't had much interaction with other faiths outside of their own, and went to a Seder and was confused because they thought that Moses was Catholic, not Jewish. And I will leave it at that because I really don't want to explain that other than just being really, really sheltered and not running across faiths other than their own. But I found it funny. I thought Moses was Catholic. It's like Jesus saves. He passes on to Moses. He shoots. He scores. The above commentary was all meant in good fun and not meant to offend anybody. If I did, that was my fault. You can blame me. Yeah, I am going to really try and make it to the 2 hours, but I'm definitely getting tired here. I do apologize for that. I think it has more to do with how I'm sitting necessarily than the amount of sleep I've been getting. Adjust the chair down a little bit when I get to the natural stopping point, see if that helps my shoulders by changing the angle I'm holding my arms at. All right, let's drop this down a little bit. There we go. My chair is lower. Let's see if I can. Oops. Sorry, I was trying to lean against the back of the chair and still reach across where I need to. You know, the laptop is a little bit in the way. Yeah, I think bad ergonomics are going to cause a problem for me. I'll get to where it's time to raise the bag up and do a tama drop and then stop it there. Thank you, Texas Nana. That's very reassuring for me. I definitely admit that I'm getting into quote-unquote dad-type humor and bad puns and the like. But a lot of it's just stuff that randomly pops in my head and I say it so it doesn't stay there bouncing around. But yeah, I say things like I was heading back to camp, getting ready for dinner. Somebody was talking as I was coming up, and I had headphone on in my ear. I said, hold on just a second. I need to stop one of the voices in my head. Which, you know, is literally true, but not the way most people use that phrase. Okay. That's good to know, Cookie Monster. As far as the bouncing around, this really is kind of a stream of consciousness, things I think about, things I just feel like chatting about, prompts from the chat as to different things that they would like to hear, know about. Most of you people that pop on here regularly have had most of the introductory things as far as how to braid and stuff like that. So unless something pops up that it's like, oh yeah, this is a really useful tip to know, I tend not to go into that too much. I did that a lot earlier, but if people ask in the chat and whatnot, as far as, you know, how to do something, I'm more than happy to explain what it is I'm doing, because that's the main goal of this, in addition to, you know, making me into like a money-making capitalist scum is to share the joy in braiding and let people do fun, interesting things. And the nice thing with pickup braids is theoretically I've got a near infinite palette that I can work with on those braids to do things with them. Though it is essentially, you know, a few moves. You got a whole alphabet that or it's a relatively simple alphabet, but there's a whole language you can generate from it. I might go ahead and like come up with a nice pickup braid design to keep for myself. Probably should have at least a couple of pieces of my own work that I can show off as examples that don't immediately go out to somebody. All right, feels like we're starting to get close to tama getting high enough for another tama drop. Yeah, looks like we'll make at least an hour and 3/4, so I'm not too far off from my goal. I probably could push for it, but I don't want to like really hurt my back and cause problems down the road. I've definitely come to appreciate good ergonomics as I get older and can't bounce back from sitting in bad positions long term. All right, I think I'll get to where it's evenly divided colors rather than the similar to nuclear alert trefoil. And I'll go ahead and stop then, bring the bag up, measure how much I've done, and then see whether or not I'll do another stream either tomorrow night or Tuesday night. I'm definitely going to like lean back, stretch, and crack open a cold soda. Drink that, not focus on anything for a little while, and then head back to camp. Lock up the box here. Pretty much everything has been delivered, so that's not a horrible concern. Plus, I found the people at these events tend to be relatively honest. I don't know if it's significantly better than the general population as a whole, but reasonably good. All right. So yeah, tama are about as high as they can get before I need to do another tama drop. All right. Let's see how much we've got. So we started about here. So we got about probably at least 20 inches, looks like, or close to 20 inches. All right, so we were 24 at the end of last stream. Let me find the where I put the darn ruler. Stand up here. I did have it here recently. Let's see, where did it go? I'm going to be disappointed if I don't. Ah, there it is. It was hiding on white paper. Since it's transparent, that's an easy way to hide. Okay, so looks like we're about an inch down. Let's go ahead and start. Go. All right, so we have 12 inches. And 24, that's where we started out. Another 12. And 4. So we had about 16 inches, not 20, but still 16 inches in 90 minutes. It's pretty darn fast for braiding. So let's go ahead and put this up here. All right, so 36. So we got about 40 inches. So we're about 8 inches short of 4 feet. That's a decent amount. Also lets us know we're getting close to the halfway mark. So I probably have, I'd say about another 6 hours needed to finish this braid off. So yeah, I'll braid some probably tonight or tomorrow at home or in camp. Um, and then either stream or braid tomorrow, and definitely stream on Tuesday. So thank you very much, everybody who's joined in the stream. I really appreciate it. Your patronage to the stream definitely makes my experience much more enjoyable, and I'm glad that I'm able to share it with you folks. So, all right, looks like we are ready to stop. Whoops, crazy by proxy. Let me take a look real quick here. Yeah, I probably not as much area covered as Friday Night Frenzy. But it'd probably be really fun to join on that, but I'm not sure how much I would be able to provide usable commentary there. I don't know, maybe if Rob likes, I can go ahead and kind of sit as a fourth wheel or so when they've got several people on, where it's not like I'm dragging everything down. But anyway, thanks again for joining everybody, and we will see you soon. So stay safe and happy braiding.